Hey, we've done it.
Are we live now? No, now we're live. That looks a lot better with that light.
Yeah.
I think so. We still look a little bit like we're on like a Chechnyan, like
Chechnyan something or
just Chechnyan something. I don't know. You get a little laggy.
Well, hey everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Phil.
I'm Derek.
I'm James.
And today we're doing Imposter Syndrome. We're going to attempt it.
This is what? What is this?
It's Imposter Syndrome.
No, what is this?
What do you mean?
What is this? It's time for freaking anything, man.
Oh yeah,
Gotta introduce the podcast.
time for anything. Nice, James. Yeah, so we're here just trying to talk about Imposter Syndrome. We did a little bit of research recently because we were kind of interested in the topic and we figured it'd be fun to share. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts they want to start with or...
Do you want to start with the definition?
I mean,
I'll Wikipedia.
tell people what it's about.
Okay. So, imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern in which an individual doubts their skills, talents, or accomplishments and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. Despite external evidence of their competence, those experiencing this phenomenon remain convinced that they are frauds and do not deserve all that they have achieved.
Yeah. Now, I think I was just talking about this with James right before you got here. I think it's important to distinguish the difference between imposter syndrome and having quote unquote imposter syndrome tendencies, which I think we all kind of have. Go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
So when I first looked that definition up, I was fixated on the word syndrome because it's such a, I feel like a lot of people know of the word, but what is a syndrome anyway? Why is it not imposter disorder or anything like that? So a syndrome is a characteristic combination of opinions, emotions, or behavior.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I saw another one that was like a pattern of behavior that elicits emotions and actions. So I think it's good to like delineate between syndrome and like a disorder or something else that's related to like the mind.
Yeah. And I think, everyone kind of has that like, well, why are people even friends with me? Why do people even want to associate with me? I don't feel like I'm qualified for this job. I don't feel like I deserved getting recognized for that paper I wrote, and that doesn't mean you have imposter syndrome, but you kind of have that idea of like a lack of self-worth, which probably stems from a lack of self-esteem. Like, I truly don't know.
That's what I had in my little notes here from the stuff I was researching.
Because I remember we watched one video on it and the person said like, well, it's not necessarily because of a lack of self-esteem. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm sure that's not all of it, but I can imagine that that's a big contributing factor.
Yeah, I think it stems from a deeper feeling of ineptitude. Which, there and again, I won't say everyone, but I feel like a lot of people have feelings of ineptitude in some way, shape, or form. And yeah, I definitely resonate with imposter syndrome because I have felt that feeling of not belonging.
Yeah.
Where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah, like you kind of got there by tricking people, or something. Like you got the job you had because you really persuaded them even though you weren't really qualified or something. I don't know.
That's a thought.
I mean, I've definitely felt that way before, but,
well,
I don't know.
I think when the game is set up to be kind of bullshit, it's easy to feel like you're bullshitting.
Yeah.
Like when you go in an interview, you're not being your genuine self. There's just no way. You're trying to paint a picture that you're some demigod who can, do whatever task that is required better than the other candidates.
Yeah, you're trying to sell yourself.
Right. And that's covered in fool's gold. And it's not people's fault. That's how you get jobs.
Well, no, it is kind of people's fault because the whole group of all people are contributing to it. But I see your point.
I meant the person who's in the position.
Yeah.
That's trying to get that job.
Yeah.
But then you get the job and you get there and you're like, wow, I kind of lied my way through this
Mhm.
interview a little bit here. I felt that way at my current job. And as I was being given tasks and things to do, I was like, wow, I don't know if I'm qualified for this. I don't know if I can do this, especially the accounting stuff. And just kind of fake it till you make it. But we can get into remedies of it. Can I read you some famous people quotes on imposter syndrome?
Sure, go ahead.
It's actually just two quotes. They're both people that work in the entertainment industry. The first one is Emma Watson, obviously known for her role as Hermione in Harry Plopper.
Harry Pooper.
When I was younger, I just did it. I just acted. It was just there. So now when I receive recognition for my acting, I feel incredibly uncomfortable. I tend to turn in on myself. I feel like an imposter. It was just something I did. Chris Martin, vocalist of Coldplay and ex-husband of Gwyneth Paltrow.
They were together?
Yeah, they have a bunch of kids together.
Wait, are we talking about?
Yes.
Wait, Gwyneth Paltrow.
Goop. Vagina camp.
Gwyneth Paltrow. He was married to Gwyneth Paltrow?
Paltrow, yes. They have like 3 kids together.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Their parenting was weird. I think one of their kids' name is Apple.
I mean, that's kind of cool. It's kind of weird. It's kind of cool. Kind of weird.
Oh, man, I wouldn't want to be named Apple. He said, it's helpful to have some arrogance with paranoia. If we were all paranoid, we'd never leave the house. If we were all arrogant, no one would want us to leave the house. I thought that was kind of cryptic, but like the more I thought about it, I guess what he's saying, like as it relates to imposter syndrome, is that being paranoid and ignorant, which are feelings that come with it, you never get to leave your house, as in like move on and grow and go different places, because you're paranoid to leave the house and you're arrogant of what is outside of the house, so you don't want anyone to leave the house, including yourself.
Yeah, I interpret it as like if you're too paranoid, you're never going to leave the house. But if you have too much arrogance, people don't even want to be around you. So there's that weird balance you have to find, because if you're trying to push down your paranoia too much to the point where you build up arrogance, people just hate you and don't even want to be around you. But then if you're too paranoid, you're just stuck. So it's this battle in your mind of you're like, well, am I being too paranoid or am I not? And then you kind of try to combat that, but you could combat it too hard and then just end up with full-blown arrogance, and then no one likes you.
Right.
So you're just screwed. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah. Like the idea of being like frozen with fear, which I guess can relate to imposter syndrome, but it covers many other things too. You just get so frozen in thought that you do nothing, and it's that act of doing nothing that keeps you in that same place. So it's like self-defeating.
You got anything?
But so I was thinking of remedies for imposter syndrome, because 1, we have to fill up time. 2, what's the point in talking about something that people are afflicted with without trying to find some sort of way out? So here are a couple ideas. Allow yourself to believe that you were chosen for a reason, whether or not you realize those reasons. The powers that be have no duty to tell you why they hired you, other than probably some like blanket statement on like, oh, you were the best fit for the job, and maybe they don't even really think about why they hired you, like in depth. Maybe they just like the way you look, like the way you sounded, took you through the steps, and here you go.
Or frankly, everyone else was terrible in their interviews, so they were like, well, let's just go with this guy.
This guy was mediocre.
So then you kind of almost have a problem there, because, well, what if you really were hired because, like, even though you weren't qualified, but it was only because you were the best candidate.
But it wasn't like without reason.
Yeah.
even if the reason is unclear, you're not anywhere for no reason. I don't believe in that, because I think that life is just, what's it called? Like causality? What's that called, James? Like where like one action just leads to the other, and like it's a chain of events. It's a chain of
Essentially
events.
determinism, but
Well, yeah, I guess that's deterministic of me. But yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of, yeah, that's my life macro is determinism. I don't think you're just in some random predicament. It's kind of spontaneously spawned from nothing. That makes no sense.
it makes me really think, like, you gotta be really careful with how you parent your kids, if you have any, because the last thing you want to do is make them feel like they're not qualified for anything and that they're not capable of doing anything. And you don't want to tear them down, because then the second they accomplish something, they're like, oh, well, I clearly wasn't even worth earning this.
Right.
I got this medal, but I don't deserve this at all. I'm not worth that, because you've made your kid feel like they're not worth anything. And I think that maybe a lot of people who suffer from this are people who have just been degraded to the point where whoever was making them feel that way had an image of zero worth for them. So then they created the idea of lack of worth for themselves. So then almost anything they accomplish, they automatically assign I'm not worthy of this at all because I'm not worth anything.
Right.
Yeah.
I think parenting definitely plays a role in it, but I think a good parent teaches their kids how to respond to things, both emotionally and physically.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important to tell your kids, well, this is just my opinion, but your kids should know that they're in the predicament they are for some sort of reason, whether it was in their control, out of their control, whether they saw it coming or didn't see it coming. It didn't just drop from the sky. There were things that happened prior that eventually led to the thing that is happening now and the place that you're at. So how do you respond to that? Well, you could shy away from it, or you could lean into it. I find that, it's good to know when to back off. Like, obviously, like you don't want to just lean into every situation you ever come to. Oh, hey, you got some fentanyl here for you. You want to lean into that? Maybe try that. Like, no, don't do that. Back away from it. Run away.
Yeah. So
maybe that's another good parenting point, is like teaching your kids how to make thought out decisions, making the best decision for them, even if it's not a great outcome. But so that was one of my remedies for imposter syndrome. Another one I have is belief is powerful. Quote, faking it until you make it can show you that you are more capable of handling your role than you think you are.
Confidence.
Not even. Just send that shit. Like, who cares?
Yeah, but you gotta have confidence to do that.
I guess so.
Like, you have to have confidence to have the fake it till you make it attitude. I would think, because I mean, if you don't, then you're just back where you started, right? You're back in this lack of self-worth, because you're not even confident in your ability. So then you just end up a blob.
Well, you don't just you're not going to wake up one day and be confident in your ability. You have to develop that ability. So if you're going into something like at work, for me, it was balancing cash receipts, right? Like, what does that mean? Like when I was first asked to do that, I said yes, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, I've never done this before. I'm terrified of it. Like I don't know how to balance cash receipts.
And they're like, can you do this? You just do this.
I'm like, I've never done it before. And they're like, okay, well, let me show you. So you watch it the first time. You have a master of craft watching over you, correcting your mistakes, showing you little tips to make it easier on you. And then slowly but surely, months will go by, and eventually you'll just come into work and be like, oh my God, I hate cash receipts. They're so boring. It's so easy and it takes 5 minutes of my day, which isn't really a bad thing to complain about. But my point being, you're going to go into things in life where you don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And you're scared of the uncertainty. That's for sure. No matter how confident I am going into something, I'm scared crapless over the outcome. Or not even the outcome. It's the uncertainty of the outcome.
Yeah.
But the confidence lies in just doing your damn best. And if even your best isn't enough, then that's okay because it was everything you gave as a human.
Yeah, I think with my last job, I kind of had that idea of like, I was like, there's no way I should be doing this. It's like, how did I get this job? How did I convince them to put me in this position, pay me this much money, give me this much responsibility? And especially that hit me like even harder when they were like, hey, I need you to be our contact for this like software that we have to get integrated with, and you have to like learn it and then teach the other people about it and like all this shit. I was like, okay, cool. I've never done anything like that in my whole life. I wasn't even, for some reason, not even like stressed about it or like worried.
Right.
Couldn't really tell you why. But in my mind, I was like, I am not qualified for this. Like I can handle this, but I guess that makes me qualified, which is odd.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like my initial thought was like, there's no way that I would have ever expected myself to be getting hired for a position that has this much responsibility, you know? So that's kind of where that's like that tendency is there. But again, I don't have imposter syndrome. It's just, it's an imposter syndrome thought, whatever that even means.
So,
you know,
what we've talked about kind of sounds like actual imposters. The whole fake it till you make it. If you're not qualified for something and you're doing it, you're kind of actually an imposter. I think imposter syndrome is more like you have the qualifications. You can do this job. You're fully capable.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But you just, when somebody says, hey, you did a good job, or you have some kind of achievement, you think you're not worthy of it.
Yeah.
The work that you did is not up to standards.
Yeah.
You know, even though you're fully qualified, you're 100% the right person to be doing this.
You still feel like you're not.
A good example is grad students. Grad students, they'll get A's, B's on tests, A+ on a project, and think, I really shouldn't be here. I don't deserve to be here. I had a friend in college that thought that way. She would get A's on all her tests, do everything on time, like 4.0 GPA. She would think, I'm not good enough for this. She went on to grad school. No clue how she's doing that. I think she got through grad school with that idea, like, I'm not deserving of this.
So wouldn't you say they're, well, I guess in their mind they're faking it?
I guess that's what imposter syndrome is, right? It's not that they're faking it and they feel...
Well, they're not faking it.
Right.
Because they're doing it. But
they feel like they're faking it. They feel like they have this mask and and they're not actually qualified, even though they 100% are.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, I would imagine like, okay, let's say you take someone who has a master's degree in theoretical mathematics and you take someone whose only basis of theoretical mathematics is like through books, right? Like they're not qualified in a physical sense. Like they don't have pieces of paper to show that, you know, they're able to do theoretical mathematics, but they have the ability to. And that's another thought I have at work all the time. And like, I mean, I never really talk about my role, but I'm an operations coordinator. And it's like, I've never been an operations coordinator before, but I'm capable of doing it if I just try. It's like, I'm not qualified, but I'm capable.
Yeah.
I have that problem with writing all the time.
I was going to mention that, but I didn't want to just throw that out there.
I went to school for a very specific kind of writing that is not creative in any sense of the word. It's very factual, like point-based. It's not even full paragraphs.
Analytical.
Analytical. So when I do creative writing, I have no qualifications, but I have achievements in that field that I don't feel like I deserved.
Yeah, I don't feel like I deserve the creative writing award that I received senior year of graduation, but of high school. But
well, you got that, and then you got like your story that you wrote won in some kind of contest in college.
Yeah, it was a National Day of Writing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I was like, holy shit. And I legitimately thought it was really good. But then, like, to this day, James is like, that story is shit. I hate that story.
Yeah, it's a bad story.
I should not have won this
good.
award. But I was like, it's a great story. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I guess that's what I meant by, like, like, faking it. Because, like, who knows the remedy, the true answer to that predicament, right? Like, how do you convince yourself to think otherwise about that story, or my receiving of an award that wasn't really warranted? Because I don't even write like that. Like, I write short stories and poetry. It's nothing substantial, yet I got it, and I'm like, I didn't deserve that. So that was one of them. Here's my last one. Life is random as frick. Sometimes you find yourself in situations that you would have never imagined to be in, yet here you are in that situation. Here you are. So again, like, what do you do? Like, you have every right to walk away from it if that's how you feel, but maybe if you're comfortable with at least the potential for failure, maybe you just lean into it. You don't have to be comfortable with uncertainty, because I don't have any answers as to how to fix that. Life is uncertain.
Stoicism? I don't know. I'm just kind of joking. But
here I am. Oh yeah, life is determined. Life is uncertain.
Yeah, right.
It's a little bit of both. It's just the fact that you can't see everything. You don't have a 20/20 life vision. It's like there could be a bullet that is falling from the sky because someone shot it up in the air. You would have no way of ever detecting that bullet until it smacks you in the top of your brain.
But it is definitely mathematically calculated that it will end up in your brain. Yeah, so it's like the determinism there. Yeah.
Even if life is determined, there is no free will. That doesn't mean that we know the answers. Stuff is still uncertain for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the illusion of free will, is that you think that you have a choice, and maybe it feels like that in real time, and be comfortable with that. But like, there are millions and billions of equations that are taking place exactly outside of your.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't really have a whole ton of more thoughts, but I don't know if you guys do. If you guys have something more you want to share, go for it. I'll piggyback.
Here's a question. I wrote questions. I have one question. Is imposter syndrome just an overabundance of humility within oneself?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question.
You better go get water.
Yeah, get water.
Get him water. Yeah, James is gonna refill his drink.
I don't. Yeah, I was kind of sitting on that one at work today.
That's actually a very good question, because at first I thought it was like, kind of a lack of self-esteem thing. But the more I think about that, I think the less I agree with myself, because I'm thinking, like, you still have the confidence to get your degrees, to do the stuff, to get your qualifications, to get the position, yada, yada, sure, whatever. And a lot of these people are very outgoing, like successful, social, extroverted individuals.
Right.
But then they end up like, kind of with this over amplified humility, if that's what you want to call it. That's a very interesting question that has got my gears turning now. It's making me wonder if it really is just people that are humble as shit.
A Buddhist would say, be as humble as you possibly can. But you
don't want to discredit yourself.
Well, I take the fence-sitting role of that. I think you should remain humble and recognize that there are plenty of people that, could do what you're doing. That's just a fact.
Mhm.
But you should be proud in the fact that you're doing it.
That you're doing it, right?
Right. Because you're doing something. And we're so hard on ourselves and we're so like masochistic. And I just feel like you need to allow yourself to feel a little bit of pride for doing it.
Well, you just mentioned something that it's a very good point. Is almost anyone else could do what you do, like
I
you
think
as
that
an
all
A
the time
person,
at my
right?
job.
Yeah, like you're cool. You're the dude who repairs the engines on like the tanks for the military in this one specific division in this one area, and you're like, dang, like I don't feel like I'm very qualified for this. Why am I even doing this? It's like, dude, there are a million other people who could do it. Yeah, that's true. There's always someone better than you. I mean,
Yeah,
unless
sure.
you're that
Who
one
is
guy.
the best at anyway?
Right? Like,
how does
do you even
anyone
measure that?
claim to be the best
Yeah.
ever?
So there's chances are there's someone who's better than you are at doing what you do, but that doesn't change the fact that you're damn good at doing it.
Right.
You know? So who cares?
Just be proud in your little world.
Yeah.
Be proud of your little mundane things that you do in the day
Yeah.
because you're doing something.
Yeah.
I would be disappointed if you did absolutely freaking nothing, because that's disappointing. But if you're doing something, take pride in it, build off of it, and enjoy it to some extent. You know, don't go, all hotty toddy walking around the street. Oh yeah, I'm the cool guy. I'm the best.
I'm the best
whatever.
at fixing tanks.
Because I could train a 15-year-old to do everything that I do at my job.
I genuinely believe you. 100%.
I sit there and I'm like, why is college even a thing? Because you can teach anyone who is willing to learn mostly anything. Actually, it just depends on where you have to start. Obviously, in a subject like nuclear physics, it's probably better to have some prereq knowledge. You could learn from the ground up, though. You could.
I don't want to go too far off topic of imposter syndrome, but
I'm gonna.
The point about college is a really good one because too many people go to college.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Right. The undergraduate degree is a scam.
Scam.
Unless you're going to go for your graduate degree and potentially from there your doctorate.
Rep knows his bank account until he's 40.
I just got into a fight with not a fight, but like my mom and I talk about it a lot, and I get pretty heated. And she's like, "Well, you made the decisions. You had all the opportunity to make different decisions. You guys were in the same school as me. Did they not shove college in your face every single day?"
Dude, they jammed that down our throats to the point where we couldn't breathe. It was like, I just specifically remember one of the counselors like sitting in their office and they were like, well, you're 17 now, you're about to be going to college. It's time to think about what you're going to do for the rest of your life.
Are you kidding?
I said, bro, I'm in my mid-20s. I have no idea what I want to do for the rest of my life. There are people in their 40s who don't know what they want to do for the rest of their life.
I cannot believe that those people who I respect said that with a straight face, as if they didn't know what they were getting us into.
To be frank, I almost don't think they did.
Maybe they didn't.
Because when they went to college they could.
Was very different.
Yeah, they could survive. I remember, I can't remember who this was, but there was a woman that was probably friends with one of my friend's parents. She was like 70. She said, when I went to college, I worked at a grocery store as a cashier. That paid for my apartment and my school. And I was like, God damn.
Yeah, also,
that's crazy. College was
different because not as many people had the opportunity to go to college. Now it's almost expected.
Yes.
If you graduate high school, you're, at least from the school's point of view, you're expected to go to college. And kids grow up with this pressure of going to college when they become of age.
Mm-hmm.
America is one petri dish for Stockholm syndrome. Like, we are a piss poor country covered in glitter.
Yeah, actually, that is definitely.
I said to my mom, I was like, we are the only, imagine this, a whole planet, a whole piece of rock hurling through space and time. And we're the only country that has for-profit colleges explicitly. The only one. Unbelievable.
We're the only ones that do a lot of things for one, use the imperial system.
Which I'll never understand.
Yeah.
Can I rant about that for like 13 seconds?
Let me finish my point on school. College was different back in the day, because if you went to college, you had majors in college are it's a general degree, so you learn so many different fields of study just to get thrown into the workforce, where you're going to have to relearn whatever the job is.
And potentially a lot of what you learned didn't actually.
We got some
Exactly,
activity. We have one person watching. Shout out to either Cord or Lily.
That's hilarious.
I'm not sure which one.
I don't know. What do we have any comments? Frankly, I'd like to read a couple of those for a second if we have any. I can't read that. That's too far.
Oh, yeah.
You have your phone.
Says not on my good Christian video platform.
Wow, these are funny. Thank you to our several friends who have joined the group.
Thank you, friends.
To support us. It's always nice.
Look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah. Sorry, I feel like I cut you off in the middle of your thought.
What I was getting at is specialized schooling, right? That is the most worth it.
Yes.
Trade school, 100% worth it.
Tech?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why for my undergrad, I tried to specialize to some degree. I went intelligence analysis, which is a very odd undergraduate degree because it's very specialized.
Yeah.
And that's not very common.
That is like, what do you do? Intelligence analysis.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then once you get to graduate,
That sounds so cool.
like that's where the specialization comes in your degree. People go to graduate school for a plethora of things, but you're going there for that specific education. So that when you leave graduate school and you get thrown into the job that's in your field, you have some idea of what's happening.
Yeah. I still don't think, I think internships are valuable, but
yeah, for sure.
I don't think there's anything like just pure, and this goes back to tech schools too, because you have to do apprenticeships.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get your hands dirty. Like you have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will stay an imposter.
Well, imagine if you just read up on a lot of drum stuff and you watched a lot of videos on drums and you sat there and you imagined practicing drums, and then you did all of that for 4 years, and then you sat in front of a drum set.
You'd be better, but it would still be such a foreign experience.
You would essentially, you would borderline not be able to play compared to had you spent that 4 years playing. It's like doing the hands-on work, physically doing it, and like mapping those neural pathways. I feel like is a lot more. I don't know.
You don't just wake up one day and know how to play the guitar.
No. Well, I don't know. Maybe someone did.
No. No.
I want to say no, but it'd be cool if that happened.
There is no freaking way.
No, but have you ever heard of those people who got in a car accident and then they can speak Spanish?
No.
It's I don't know what that's weird.
It's fake.
It's probably fake, but it's that's weird. If it's true, that's weird. But I'm not going to say it's true because I don't know. Anyway.
So that was really interesting, actually.
I sort of missed the conversation about does imposter syndrome stem from just an overabundance of humility?
Yeah.
And I think the answer is maybe for some people. One of the things that I wanted to avoid with this episode is playing psychologist.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's hard to say what causes it because we haven't spent years studying it like some people have.
Nor do we have it.
Right. Oh, well, you don't know.
I guess that's true.
I think it's a general enough syndrome, that it's hard to say I don't have it or I do have it.
Yeah.
It's probably easier to say I do have it than I don't have it.
Yeah, actually, because then you can start, it's easy to make those connections and be like, oh my God, I think this way. I totally have it.
Yeah, I don't know that it's something that needs a diagnosis, to say you have it.
Well,
truly
it's
don't.
not. It's not like it's a syndrome. So it's just. It's more a pattern of behavior. It's
Right.
not disordered
Yeah, it's
thoughts.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like trying to quit something. You're so used to the pattern of every day doing like the same thing, and you end up just kind of snowballed, and you're rolling downhill, and it's really, really hard to stop. And it's the same way with imposter syndrome. My mom was kind of explained to me, she master's in psychology, clinical psychologist. She was like, it's insecurities that may be deep bedded that eventually spiral into this pattern of behavior and thought that leads you into a constant feeling of being an imposter in whatever scenario you're in.
See, that makes sense coming from someone who has done years of counseling and has been to school. Like, she can explain that instantly in one sentence in a way that we've been trying to wrap our heads around for like 30 minutes.
Well, I mean, she believes that about a lot of things. I mean, it's human nature because we are hardwired to fixate on patterns that provide us with the good juices, the good brain juices.
Yeah.
So,
the good brain.
So something like imposter syndrome, where it's not a good brain juice kind of thing, but if you've scored your brain and your neural pathways over and over again, it's like shooting a hot dog down a hallway. Like, it's just no friction, no
say no friction, no resistance. Shooting a hot dog down a hallway.
Yeah,
that's odd.
It just makes it a lot easier to fall right back into it. So you have that first initial thought, and here you are mentally breaking down. 5 minutes later.
And it's very helpful to know that other people think or feel the same way that you do.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That, I think, is one of the biggest things that can help somebody feeling like an imposter or any other way. Just knowing that you're not alone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's totally okay to, like, I think it's important to remember that even if you slip up, doesn't mean you have to fall right down the chute again. Like, you can catch yourself. I have to do that every single day. And I just, as much as it does obviously get like annoying and old, it's to my benefit. And it makes it easier as time goes on. I'm not talking about imposter syndrome. I'm mainly talking about depression. But like, that's sort of the idea.
Thought processes.
It's just thought processes. And, you know, if I have some negative thoughts, I've been training myself to catch myself, let the thoughts flow out of me, and readdress why I'm thinking those once I'm ready. That whole process takes a few minutes. So, you know, just give yourself some time within a day. If you're feeling really negative, release, you know, allow every bit of negative energy to just exit your body.
Yeah.
Just open the door, see them out. And then once you're comfortable, address yourself, mend yourself, take care of yourself, and rinse, repeat.
Nice. Cool. Anybody got any final thoughts? No? Sweet. Timeforanything.com. Send us a suggestion for a future episode, or don't.
Also, we are currently live on YouTube while recording this.
Yeah.
So if you want to come hang out while we record episodes, that's Time
6:30.
for Anything is the channel on YouTube at around 6:30 most days.
Usually Thursdays. Today was a Friday.
Yeah.
Today,
is Friday.
we had some circumstances come
Which
up.
is weird.
We would have done this yesterday.
Yeah.
But
most
happens.
times 6:30 Thursday.
Court City, they liked your nails.
Oh, thanks. I like my nails too.
I like them as well.
I think they're
But
weird.
I was just gonna let you wear them.
I've
and
never
be
actually painted
comfortable with
them,
yourself.
and so now that I have painted them, it feels very odd. However, I think I enjoy it. I don't know. Anyway.
It's new,
Yeah, it's new.
but it fits you.
Thanks.
Looks great.
I appreciate that.
You paint your pinky on the left hand?
No, my pinkies and my thumbs are not painted.
Okay.
My other fingers are, and then they alternate. So my index is blue, middle finger's black, ring finger's blue, but then it's opposite on my right hand, so black, blue, black.
Wait, they're blue?
Yeah, two of them. You see what I mean?
Oh, yeah. In the light
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
2 of them are blue over here, and then 2 of them are
I
black.
painted
over
Ronnie's nails over the weekend.
here.
On Wednesday.
This is totally unrelated to anything.
I did not do well.
Oh,
Did
you
you
didn't?
paint yours
No,
yourself?
Kathleen did them, actually.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because had I done them by myself, that would have.
Dude, it's really hard to do.
Oh, it's so hard. It's
Yeah.
very difficult. Yeah, it's
amazing.
very easy to jack up.
It's tough.
Yeah.
So she did a great job.
We actually put a gloss coat on the pinky and the thumb just so it would kind of match the shine of the other ones.
Very nice.
Anyway, thanks, friends. What?
Before we stop the episode,
Yeah.
no, never mind.
No.
We'll do it every time.
No more thoughts.
No.
Cool. All right.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Happy Halloween.
You just stop that stream.
Thank you for joining us.
Can you do it? Bye.